Hello everyone. Today we are going to start the 7th class of NCERT based Indian polity. And in today's class I am going to discuss with you majorly the development of the rights and the type of rights. And if time permits, I will also share some insights on human rights. As you can see behind me on the screen that I have referred to certain books which are already I have shared with you in the previous classes. And for today we are going to basically focus on these chapters because these chapters contain numerous insights on the type of rights as well as these understanding these different type of rights is important so that we are able to make sense of nature of fundamental rights present in the Indian constitution. So let's begin. And the first topic which I want to start discussing with all of you is that from where do rights come from? Like what is the genesis of the rights? Now of course we cannot go back to the time period which was before Buddha or before Christ, because at that point of time we find very little detailed information about the rights. Second, the NCERT is not concerned with this kind of discussion of the rights as far as the general studies paper schema, if we keep that schema in mind. So we have to focus on the way modern time period, in the way modern time period has developed and it has gradually contributed to the understanding of the rights. From there we will move on to the kind of rights which are present, like for example what kind of rights, basically three different kind of rights: political rights, economic rights and social and cultural rights. After this I want to discuss with all of you what are the rights which are necessary for our age, that is this time period which is known as the modern time period, and the 20th and the 21st century. What are the different rights which are considered as far as the NCERT is concerned as necessary, which is that we cannot live, we cannot have a civilized existence, we cannot have a political existence if we do not possess these rights, or if a polity is not granting these rights to its citizens, then it is considered as a very failed polity or a very bad polity. यानी कि वो अधिकार जो अभी के लिए बहुत ज़रूरी हैं, very important. If we do not have these rights in our system, then of course we are a failed system as far as democratic credentials and democratic basis of a Indian polity or any other polity is concerned. Then how to prioritize the rights, like which rights are primary, which rights are secondary, which rights are tertiary, etc., etc. So prioritizing the rights and what are the factors which lead to prioritization of rights. This information is fundamentally it is present in the old NCERT, whereas as far as the new NCERT is concerned, these information are not present in the new NCERT. So kind of rights we are referring to the new NCERT, but when it comes to the rights necessary for the age and prioritizing the rights, we are referring to the old NCERT. That is why I said that when you go through the NCERT course of Prospect IAS, after completing this course, you don't require to refer to any NCERT because these classes are substantially good enough in order to make you prepare a solid foundation for your Union Public Service Commission examination. After this, I am going to discuss a special case which is known as right to disobey. That is it right? Is it ethical to follow a government which is autocratic? Is it ethical to follow a government which is dictatorial? So we are going to discuss the special case of right to disobey, and in this I am going to refer to this famous personality, a famous political philosopher, also known as father of liberalism, a very important ideology. It defines our contemporary existence. His name is Professor John Locke, Mr. John Locke. Not professor, but I would love to call him professor because he professed many things. In that sense, I'm saying. After this, we will discuss rights, duties, and responsibilities. For this, we are referring to both old and new NCERT. Right to disobey is again old NCERT, but here, rights, duties, and responsibilities, we are referring to old and new NCERT. And let me tell you that as far as your paper is concerned, UPSC has asked a previous year question from here. UPSC has asked a previous year question from here as well. And in the main examination perspective, UPSC has asked a question from the rights necessary for our age as well. If not directly, then dear students, indirectly. After this, if the time permits, if we have some time left, then I'm going to discuss these three things with you as well. However, it is my gut feeling that we will be able to complete till here, and after this, we have to refer to the next class. As you can see that there is a screenshot behind me. Now this screenshot is from class 11th. The name of the book is Political Theory. All right, this is the name of the book, Political Theory. And in this book, we have a chapter number 5. As you can see, chapter 5. And in chapter number 5, the second section is where do rights come from? So let us start from here only, because this is the topic that we have to cover. And you must be observing that when I share these screenshots with you, the purpose is that you are able to understand that you are only studying NCERT. The NCERT in itself contains these informations. Whereas many people think, oh, this is not GS level, this is actually GS level, this is not NCERT level. Many argue that it is beyond GS level, it is like an optional level. Not at all. It is school level, and school level is considered as the NCERT level, plus you can add some more components for the GS level. So let's see what NCERT tells us and see how it starts. In the 17th and 18th century, so we are talking about number 1, 17th and 18th century. I always remember I was really lucky to be taught by a wonderful professor. Her name is Professor Gurpreet Mahajan at Jawaharlal Nehru University. And she always used to say, it's like a few days back that in the 17th and the 18th century. Now we used to wonder, ma'am, 17th century is centuries back, 18th century is century back. We are talking about the 21st century today. So how come you are saying that it is a matter of hardly a few days? And she used to claim this, that I'm not talking about the time period the way we understand it in a astronomical or geographical manner. I'm talking about time period the way a political theorist or a political scientist or a historian is going to understand. And why I'm saying it's just a matter of few days, because the kind of discourse which developed regarding rights in the 17th and 18th century, it still dominates, or to some extent it shapes our contemporary present. मतलब क्या हुआ कि ये सच बात है कि 17th और 18th सेंचुरी काफ़ी पुरानी बातें सुनने में लगती हैं. आखिर जाहिर सी बात है ना, 1600 से लेकर 1699, तो जाहिर सी बात है हमें दिखता है कि इट्स अ वेरी ओल्ड टाइम पीरियड वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. हाउएवर, जो आर्ग्यूमेंट्स यहाँ डेवलप हुए, जो थॉट यहाँ डेवलप हुए, दे आर स्टिल शेपिंग आवर प्रेजेंट. मतलब हमारा आज का जो प्रेजेंट है, इसे अभी भी यही थॉट प्रोसेस शेप कर रहा है, उसे आकार दे रहा है. दैट इज वाई वी से इट इज नॉट वेरी ओल्ड टाइम पीरियड वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट when we try to understand it from the perspective of NCERT based Indian polity and the discourse of rights कि उसके ऊपर जो बातचीत चली. So in the 17th and 18th century, political theorist argues that rights are given to us by nature or God. So there are two ways to understand. Either nature has provided us these rights, or God has given us these rights. Now, if you believe in God, very good. If you don't believe in God, it doesn't matter. The argument is that there used to be a time period in the world when we humans used to think that we have received these rights from nature, or we have received these rights by God. Now, interesting argument, what is hidden here? The argument which is not present. So, we have to follow the between the lines approach. The between the lines approach tells us that you have to read those things as well which are not mentioned in the text, but which are present in intrinsic manner. In other words, जो छुपा हुआ है, लिखा नहीं गया है लेकिन छुपा हुआ है. तो देखिए यहाँ क्या दिख रहा है कि either nature is providing us these rights, or God has given us these rights, which means that these rights are not provided by a government, these rights are not provided by the state, these rights are not provided by some ruler, these rights are not provided by some emperor or king. These rights are provided by nature. These rights are provided by God, which means whatever that is shaping the politics, whatever that is creating the apparatus of state, जो कुछ भी सरकार बनाई गई है, राज्य है, कोई मान लीजिए राजा है, it doesn't matter. These rights predate their existence as well. कि उनसे पहले से ही बाय नेचर एंड बाय गॉड ये राइट्स हमें मिल गए हैं. सो ये आइडिया था. दिस मेंट दैट राइट्स वर नॉट कन्फर्ड बाय अ रूलर और अ सोसाइटी, रादर वी आर बॉर्न विद देम. सो बाय बर्थ यू गेट सर्टेन राइट्स. जब आप जन्म लेते हैं तो आपको कुछ राइट्स मिल जाते हैं. एंड देन एनसीईआरटी सेज एज सच these rights are inalienable. इसका मीनिंग क्या हुआ? That no one can take these rights away from us. And they were identified as 3 natural rights of man. So let's look at it. First argument, that it is by nature or God. Second, that they have come from the natural law. Remember in the previous class, I discussed about it, and I mentioned the name of John Locke because name of John Locke is present in NCERT. And then we realized natural law, which is the law of nature. ऑलराइट, आपको बस इतना ही जानना है, आप इसके डिटेल में भी मत जाइए. लॉ ऑफ नेचर. बाय नेचर, नेचर हैज सर्टेन लॉज एंड दोज लॉज हैव गिवन अस सर्टेन राइट्स. नेचुरली हमें कुछ चीजें मिली हुई हैं, एंड वन ऑफ द मेजर आइडिया बिहाइंड इट इज that we have something called reason, that we have something intrinsic as part of human race. Intrinsic because we are human, और क्योंकि हम ह्यूमन हैं इसीलिए हमें कुछ राइट्स मिले हुए हैं. वी हैव गॉट सर्टेन राइट्स by birth, so they were not conferred by rule of society. They are inalienable, they cannot be taken away from us, and they identified them as natural rights. And there are three primary natural rights: right to life, right to liberty and right to property. right to life मतलब आप जब जन्म लेते हैं तो आप आज़ाद होते हैं. right to liberty यानी कि आप उस समय आज़ाद थे. एंड राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी यानी मेहनत करके आप कुछ भी ले लेते हैं तो वो आपकी नेचुरल राइट्स का पार्ट होता है. एंड देन दे सेड दैट ऑल अदर राइट्स वर डिराइव्ड फ्रॉम दीज बेसिक राइट्स. यानी ये तीन हो गए फंडामेंटल, बेसिक, और बाकी सारे राइट्स हमें किससे मिलते हैं? इन्हीं तीन की वजह से मिलते हैं. सो आई हैव अ पोस्टर हियर which I found very interesting, and this is of course coming from the Western context. However, it is very good to understand. Like for example, look at this. It is natural rights, and initially the term used was men, because we know that the society has been patriarchal and the society is even patriarchal. आज के समय पे भी पुरुषों को ज़्यादा अधिकार मिले हुए हैं. In a sense we can call it, if you want to understand it from the perspective of, let's say, behavioral sense. Practically अगर बात करें तो जाहिर सी बात है हमें नज़र आता है कि men have more rights than women. It is true. However, we need to understand something here, that now we can call it all, it's men or women, whether it is a poor person or a rich person, whether it is a person who belongs to the third world or a person who lives in the first world. It doesn't matter कि हम किस रीजन से हैं, हम किस क्लास से हैं, हम किस धर्म से हैं. It doesn't matter which religion we follow, which region of the world or a country we belong to, which class we belong to, which caste we belong to, or which gender we affiliate our identity with. The idea is that we all have natural rights, and these are inherent rights, means that they are present with you. You cannot, nobody can take them away from you. They are internal to you. And what are these rights? Number one, it's life. Number two is liberty. And number three, acquiring or possessing poverty. And then many people add some more components to it. And it implies that there is equality of rights under the law. So it shall not be denied or abridged, यानी छोटा किया जाएगा, by the state on account of race, creed, color, sex, or any other thing. So let us add something here, because when we are saying we have something called natural rights, okay, so let's understand it, because from here UPSC might ask you certain question, and they have asked a question from here as well. So natural rights. Now when you think about natural rights, so they are given to us, or they are a result of law of nature. They are connected with the law of nature, and either we get it by nature or we get it by God. And one of the most important person who defined this idea was Mr. John Locke, a very famous philosopher, also known as the father of liberalism. All right, he is the leading figure of liberalism. All right, so we have to understand this. And then John Locke says that when you think about the natural rights, we have three primary natural rights. One is the right to life. The second is the right to liberty. And the third is, in short form, the right to property. However, since I have understood and read, we often refer to the term as possession. Now, it is very easy to understand why these rights are essential. When you think about life, right? So, what do we get? we get the idea. Nobody grants you life, rather we are born with life. We are born with life. Now, all respect to women who carry the child, all respect to people who are working to ensure that the child in the womb receives good care, all respect to that. We are aware that the child is born with life, है ना? ऐसा तो नहीं है कि कोई जन्म लेता है फिर वो परमिशन मांगता है कि आई वॉन्ट टू बी अलाइव, ग्रांट मी लाइफ, ऐसा तो नहीं होता है ना. वो वी आर बॉर्न विद लाइफ. सो ये आर्ग्यूमेंट है पहला कि राइट टू लाइफ सबसे पहला नेचुरल राइट है. नेचर वाइज यू आर बॉर्न विद लाइफ. सेकेंड इज लिबर्टी. वी आर बॉर्न फ्री. ठीक है, हम लोग क्या हैं? वी आर बॉर्न फ्री. नाउ इट इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग आइडिया. व्हाट डज इट मीन दैट यू आर बॉर्न फ्री? Like very simple. I always, when I teach this to my students, I ask them this question all the time. I ask the question, when you were you born in chains? क्या आपके हाथ पैर जकड़े हुए थे कि किसी ने ताला खोला और तब आप लोगों ने जीना शुरू किया? ऐसा नहीं है ना. यू आर बॉर्न फ्री. सोशली हो सकता है कि आपको जबरदस्ती गुलाम बना के रखा जाए. It is possible that under a social circumstances or social structure that you are forced to follow a particular caste order, that you are forced to follow a particular gender order of patriarchy, that you are forced to follow a particular color order, that is of racism, right? But the idea is that those are social structures. But speaking naturally, है ना, if you think from the perspective of nature, so speaking naturally, we are born free. All right. The social structures are secondary. We are born free. That's the second idea. And the third idea of natural rights is that we have right to property. Now, interestingly, what is property here? See, let us imagine that you are born. So, property is something which we acquire by labor from nature. As simple as that. That is how you have to understand. Property is something which we acquire by labor from nature. For example, when you were born, so you started breathing, right? आपने सांस लेना शुरू किया होगा. Now when you are breathing, what are you doing? You are acquiring oxygen from the atmosphere, and then you are consuming that oxygen, and then you are leading to production of energy in your body. तो जितना ऑक्सीजन आपने अंदर सांस में लिया ना, द अमाउंट ऑफ ऑक्सीजन विच यू इनहेल्ड, दैट बिकम्स योर प्रॉपर्टी. यहाँ पे प्रॉपर्टी का मीनिंग इस तरीके से दिया जा रहा है. सो दीज आर नेचुरल राइट्स एंड दे आर इनएलियनेबल. ठीक है, ये क्या है? इनएलियनेबल है. मतलब नोबडी कैन टेक दीज राइट्स अवे फ्रॉम यू. आपसे ये राइट्स कोई नहीं छीन सकता. राइट टू लाइफ कोई नहीं छीन सकता, राइट टू लिबर्टी कोई नहीं छीन सकता, एंड राइट टू प्रॉपर्टी इन दिस सेंस कोई भी आपसे नहीं छीन सकता. यू आर बॉर्न विद इट, एंड दैट इज वाई, बिकॉज दे आर नेचर गिवन, वी आर कंसिडरिंग दीज राइट्स एज नेचुरल राइट्स, एंड दीज आर द बेसिस ऑफ अदर राइट्स. जैसे अगर लाइफ ही नहीं होगा, सो कैन यू थिंक अबाउट स्टडिंग? लिबर्टी नहीं है, कैन यू थिंक अबाउट स्टडिंग एंड वर्किंग? ये है ही नहीं, तो कैन यू थिंक अबाउट एक्वायरिंग प्रॉपर्टी? यू कैन नॉट डू दैट. दैट इज वाई दे आर दी फाउंडेशन ऑफ ऑल राइट्स. ओके, पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी में क्या बोलते हैं? दे आर फाउंडेशन ऑफ ऑल अदर राइट्स. दिस इज हाउ इट इज डिफाइंड. आई थिंक you were able to make sense of what do we mean by natural rights. तो हमारे राइट्स का जो आइडिया है ना, वो 17th और 18th सेंचुरी में इस तरीके से डेवलप हुआ, एंड आज भी ये कंटिन्यू कर रहा है. इवन टुडे इट इज गेटिंग प्रोग्रेस्ड. देन विद टाइम देयर हैज बीन अ चेंज. समय के साथ थोड़ा बदला है. एंड व्हाट इज द चेंज? दैट द चेंज इज द आइडिया ऑफ ह्यूमन राइट्स. ये थोड़ा सा मैं आपको डिफाइन कर देता हूं. नाउ बेसिकली व्हाट हैज हैपेंड, that recently what we are seeing that people are more referring to the term human rights and less to natural rights. इसका simple reason है. आज के टाइम पे अगर हम बात करें, for example now when we think about the 20th and the 21st century, then idea of God given rights appears very difficult for us to accept, है ना, इस पे क्वेश्चन मार्क लग जाता है. Like God given, seriously, when science is challenging the existence of God, when society has progressed to such an extent that we are thinking that perhaps there is no God, आजकल ये भी बातें चल रही है कि गॉड नहीं है ना, तो हम वो आपका पर्सनल ओपिनियन या मेरा पर्सनल ओपिनियन क्या है, इट डजंट मैटर, वी आर स्टडिंग हियर, सो वी कैन आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन दैट इफ देयर इज अ चैलेंज, देन इज इट रियली नेसेसरी टू क्लेम समथिंग एज गॉड गिवन और नेचर गिवन? Why not claim it something like else? Like for example, that instead of being given by a god or nature, rights are actually the guarantees that human beings themselves seek or arrive at in order to live a minimally good life. यानी rights क्या हैं? वो guarantees हैं. These are those that has been developed by humans. हमने खुद इसको डेवलप किया है. It has not been developed by any other nature or authority. And then I have given this poster so that you are able to have a better sense of these things, like human rights. Number one, they are universal rights any human being can enjoy. It doesn't matter which country, which region, which class, which caste, which gender you belong to. All of us possess certain human rights because we are humans, है ना, हम सबके पास थोड़े से ह्यूमन राइट्स होते हैं. सेकेंड, दे आर यूनिवर्सल, विच इज सबके ऊपर एप्लीकेबल है. दे आर कनेक्टेड विद नेचुरल राइट्स, डेफिनेटली नेचुरल को आज क्या बोलते हैं, ह्यूमन राइट्स. एंड नो एग्जैक्ट पनिशमेंट अनलेस लीगलाइज्ड एज लीगल राइट्स. जब तक आप इन ह्यूमन राइट्स को लॉ के थ्रू डिफाइन कर दें, तब तक पनिशमेंट देना मुश्किल होता है, क्योंकि कोई क्लेम करने वाला होना चाहिए. सेकेंड आर लीगल राइट्स, दोज राइट्स विच आर ग्रांटेड सम स्टेटस बाय एथिक्स और मॉरल कोड. मतलब कि जहां कानून बन जाए, जहां पे कानून बना दे, वो बन गया लीगल राइट, जो पिछली क्लास में हमने देखा. एंड इट डिफर्स फ्रॉम पर्सन टू पर्सन, एज, नेशनैलिटी, country, etc. So for example, think like America. In America there is a proper cause for एंटी रेसिज्म, है ना, कि रेसिज्म खत्म करना है, तो वो उनका लीगल राइट हुआ. इन इंडिया वी हैव एंटी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन लॉज विच इज अगेंस्ट डिस्क्रिमिनेशन बेस्ड ऑन कास्ट, क्लास, बेसिकली रिलीजन, राइट, फंडामेंटली रिलीजन, कास्ट, जेंडर और एनी अदर काइंड ऑफ सोशल बैरियर. तो हमने क्या किया, हमारे हिसाब से बनाया. दीज आर ग्रांटेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट, दीज आर नेचुरल. एंड पनिशमेंट होता है, क्योंकि आप जब लॉ को वायलेट करते हैं तो आपको पनिश किया जाता है. And then the third idea is moral rights. What are moral rights? Rights formulated by the state or government for the privilege of the citizens. कि कुछ ऐसे राइट सरकारें बनाएं जो लोगों को बेहतर जीवन दे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, राइट टू लिबर्टी, अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट मॉरल राइट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, राइट ऑफ अ वुमेन टू सीक मेडिकल टर्मिनेशन ऑफ प्रेगनेंसी, लीगल भी है, मॉरल भी है, ये भी यूनिवर्सल होते हैं. दे आर कनेक्टेड विद नेचुरल राइट्स, प्लस सीधे तौर पर जरूरी नहीं कि पनिशमेंट हो पाए. दिस इज जस्ट फॉर योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, बट फंडामेंटली आपको क्या समझना है कि आज के टाइम पर नेचुरल राइट्स आर known as human rights, and natural rights are connected with human rights. Natural rights are also connected with moral rights. लीगल राइट्स क्या होते हैं, जब आप इन्हीं क्लेम्स को कानून की शक्ल देते, है ना. जैसे कल की क्लास में जो आपको बता रहा था कि लीगल क्लेम इज इंपॉर्टेंट because without law there cannot be freedom. ये जो argument we studied in the previous class, that is something which is explained here in this form. All right, so let me just add it to all of you कि आप समझ पाएं इसको. When we think about natural rights today, natural rights are also known as human rights. Human rights. And both natural rights and human rights are connected with the idea of moral rights. All right, if moral rights are framed on the basis of nature, then we call it natural rights. If moral rights are framed on the basis of humanity, अगर ऐसे आए तो हम क्या बोल देंगे इसको, human rights. ये connected तो है ही. Plus, if moral rights are getting some sanction from the government, है ना, मान लीजिए sanction of law मिल जाए, sanction by government, or sanctioned by the state, then whether it is natural rights, whether it is moral rights, or whether it is human rights, they become legal rights. As simple as that. All right, so they become legal rights. इस तरीके से आपको दिमाग में एक पिक्चर को बनाना है. ये अपने पास इस तरह I will also forward it to all of you. Now let's enter the discourse of kind of rights. What are the different kind of rights available to us and how to make sense of different kind of rights? Now, in order to understand different kind of rights, there are two ways to understand it. Number one is the general understanding. All right. The first one is general understanding. The second one is for our age, है ना. इस तरीके से rights which are for our temporary time period. The general understanding, it is present in the new NCERT, okay, and the necessary for our age understanding, it is present in the old NCERT. All right. तो हमें जब पढ़ना है तो इस तरीके से समझना है. So first we will carry forward this, then we will enter into this. And if you are able to cover this in the way I am trying to teach to all of you, then you will be able to understand and answer any question asked by the Honorable UPSC as far as the examination paper for civil services is concerned. So let's look at the first right. The first kind of rights which fall under the normal domain are known as political rights. Okay, सबसे पहले क्या बोलते हैं इसको हम लोग? Political rights. Now as you can see, again new NCERT, kind of rights, and see what it says. In most democracies there is a charter of political rights. Now you might be knowing or you might be trying to understand what is a charter. Now see, a charter is like a declaration. Now उसको declare किया जाता है, and through that declaration we can create many laws. Sometime a charter itself is containing the force of law. Both aspects are possible in political science. Political theory में, polity में ऐसे पढ़ते हैं. History में चीजें और बदलती हैं. But basically a charter of political rights. And what are these political rights? These political rights are known as, number one, right to equality before the law and right to participate in the political processes. So there are two major things. For example, number one, right to equality before the law, which means what? That there is no discrimination in the eyes of law, that the law does not discriminate. कानून किसी के साथ कोई भेदभाव नहीं करता है. कानून के सामने सब बराबर हैं. रिमेंबर रूल ऑफ लॉ जो हम लोगों ने पढ़ना चाहा था फंडामेंटल राइट से पहले ही की क्लासेस में. सो हमें क्या समझ में आता है? दैट इन आईज ऑफ लॉ एवरीबडी इज इक्वल. अब चाहे आप अमीर हो, वेदर यू आर रिच, चाहे आप गरीब हो, वेदर यू आर पुअर, वेदर यू आर एबल्ड और यू आर डिफरेंटली एबल्ड, वेदर यू आर अ मैन और यू आर अ वुमन, whether you are, let's say, heterosexual or you are homosexual, whether you belong to the northern part of the world or southern part of the world, northern part of India or southern part of India, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which part of the world you belong to, which part of the country you belong to. It doesn't matter which social structure you belong to. It doesn't matter what kind of language you are speaking, what kind of clothes you are wearing, how much have you studied. It doesn't matter. All these social, geographical and to some extent economic and cultural differences doesn't matter. इसका कोई फायदा नहीं है, कुछ भी मैटर नहीं करता. मेन बात क्या है कि कानून के सामने सब बराबर हैं. इन आईज ऑफ लॉ एवरीवन इज इक्वल. तो जिस प्रोसेस से कोई अमीर आदमी गुजरता है उसी प्रोसेस से एक गरीब आदमी गुजरेगा. सपोज समवन इज ड्राइविंग अ कार, कोई गाड़ी चला रहा है और वो जाके किसी के ऊपर गाड़ी चढ़ा दे, तो अगर वो अमीर है तो उसके ऊपर भी सेम क्रिमिनल प्रोसेस होगा, प्रोसीजर, और गरीब है तो भी सेम होगा. एंड द मोमेंट वी फाइंड कि ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है, देन वी से कि कानून का सही से लागू नहीं किया जा रहा. देन वी आर्ग्यू दैट द लॉ इज नॉट बीइंग इंप्लीमेंटेड in spirit, that the law is not being implemented as it is supposed to be implemented, right? Number one. Then we have the second one, right to participate in the political process. So basically we are talking about certain political participatory rights. Okay, political participatory rights. Now what do we mean by this? NCERT gives an answer. For example, right to vote. Tomorrow we have voting in Delhi, 2024 elections. For example, right to vote and then elect the representatives. Like right to contest elections, आप चुनाव लड़ना चाहें, that is your political right. Right to form political parties, आप अपना कोई political party बनाना चाहें, whether or you want to join some party, suppose you want to join the Indian National Congress, suppose you want to join the Aam Aadmi Party, suppose you want to join the Bharatiya Janata Party, it doesn't matter. So आप क्या करते हैं? This are the examples of the rights which are known as the political participatory rights. So always remember, whenever you think about political rights, there are two kinds of rights. Number one, those rights which are considered or connected with number of political participation. अब मान लीजिए आपसे यहां पर यूपीएससी सवाल पूछ दे, which among the following are examples of political rights? तो आपके पास क्लियर कट जो भी एग्जाम्पल्स आएंगे, जो भी ऑप्शंस होंगे, always try to answer by referring to these two fundamental ideas. Not only this, when we think about political rights, there is one more argument that we need to understand. So for example, I want all of you to study this line. Political rights are supplemented by civil liberties. So it means that they have a supplement. They are aided, all right, supplemented. There is an additional support. They are having some additional support, and this additional support is coming in the form of what is known as civil liberties. This is what NCERT is telling us. Civil liberties, which means that political rights are connected with the idea of civil liberties. Now the question is, what is the meaning of civil liberties? So see what NCERT tells us. The latter, which is civil liberties, it refers to right to a free and fair trial. Suppose you are arrested, then you must have a fair trial, है ना? आप अरेस्ट होंगे तो आपको कोर्ट में ले जाना है. There must be proper prosecution, there must be a defense lawyer, there should not be any discrimination when there is a trial going on over you. आपके ऊपर कोई कार्रवाई चल रही है कानूनी. Second, right to express one's views freely, that is right to free speech and expression, कि आप अपने हिसाब से अपनी बातें कह पाएं. Third, right to protest and express, है ना, यानी आप अपनी बहस कर पाएं, अपना प्रोटेस्ट दर्ज कर पाएं. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, नंबर वन, वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट फेयर ट्रायल. सिविल लिबर्टीज में क्या आ जाएगा? फर्स्ट वन, द फर्स्ट वन कम्स इज फेयर ट्रायल. दिस इज नंबर वन, फेयर ट्रायल. द सेकेंड वन इज फ्री स्पीच. फ्री स्पीच और एक्सप्रेशन, है ना, ये हो गया हमारा सेकेंड आइडिया, फ्री स्पीच एंड एक्सप्रेशन. थर्ड, राइट टू प्रोटेस्ट एंड डिसेंट. सो व्हेन यू वांट टू प्रोटेस्ट, व्हेन यू वांट टू शो योर डिसेंट, ये क्या कहलाता है? दीज आर आवर राइट्स. इसको हम बिना राइट्स के नहीं समझ सकते. इंटरेस्टिंगली वी कॉल देम सिविल लिबर्टीज. It means that apart from political rights, they are connected with political rights. You cannot have any political participation without liberties. You cannot have equality before the law without civil liberties. So see what they are saying. Collectively, यानी जब आप दोनों को मिला देते हैं, है ना, when you bring them together collectively, it is telling us that the civil liberties and political rights form the basis of a democratic system of government. So suppose now they ask you a question, what forms the basic, है ना, what is the fundamental idea, what forms the base of a democratic system of government? Democratic system of government. अगर ये सवाल आपसे पूछ दें तो आंसर क्या होगा? आंसर विल बी सिविल लिबर्टीज प्लस पॉलिटिकल राइट्स. दोनों मिलकर when they come together, then they form the democratic basis of the system of government found in democracy. But as we mentioned before, rights aim to protect the well-being of the individual. Political rights also contribute to it. Now, rights are all about well-being of the individual. So the question is, in what manner the political rights are able to contribute to the well-being of the individual? And here we find three specific answers provided by the NCERT. Number one, they make the government accountable to the people. When you have regular elections going on, the government is turning accountable. When you have a demand for fair trial, कि आपके साथ कोई गलत trial ना हो, you are making the government accountable. The first way is that they make the government accountable. Second, they give more importance to the concerns of the individual over the rulers, that of the rulers. यानी those who are in power, उनके जो concerns हैं, they are secondary. The individual citizens' concerns are primary. ये ज्यादा यानी मेरे अधिकारों की बात करना ज्यादा पुलिस के अधिकार क्या हैं, पुलिस के राइट्स सेकेंडरी हैं, पुलिस की अथॉरिटी सेकेंडरी है, इंडिविजुअल सिटीजंस के राइट्स प्राइमरी हैं. एंड देन द थर्ड इज by ensuring that all persons have an opportunity to influence the decision of the government. मतलब कि आप हर इंसान चुनाव में भाग ले सकता है, हर इंसान प्रोटेस्ट कर सकता है, हर इंसान एक्सप्रेशन कर सकता है. So through these three things the political rights are able to provide well-being, or they lead to progress of an individual. So let's try to give it a summative. Right? So first kind of rights are known as political rights. ये हो गए हमारे first type of rights. Then in political rights there are two major things. Number one, there is idea of equality before the law. Equality before the law. This is the first idea. Then the second idea is there is right to political participation. ये हो गया second idea. All right, second idea. Equality before the that the law does not discriminate, है ना, कानून भेदभाव नहीं करता है. लॉ डज नॉट डिस्क्रिमिनेट. पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन का मीनिंग क्या हुआ? नंबर वन, राइट टू वोट. नंबर टू, राइट टू फॉर्म पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, है ना, ये इसका एग्जाम्पल हुआ. पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज, फॉर्मिंग देम. नंबर थ्री, राइट टू ज्वाइन political parties. This is the three ideas of political rights and right to political participation. So let's merge them together. Then we also know that rights are actually the claims which lead to well-being of individual. ये भी हमें पता लग गया. राइट्स लीड टू वेलबींग ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल. हाउ डू दे लीड टू वेलबींग? सो पॉलिटिकल राइट्स आर supplemented, they are supplemented or aided by what is known as civil liberties. All right, civil liberties. एक नया आइडिया है हमारे पास. They are liberties. Now the question is, what are the different kind of civil liberties? Meaning क्या हुआ इसका? So let's look at it. One is the idea of, see what NCERT tells us. Number one, fair trial. Okay, so first civil liberty is that we have right to fair trial. Then the second civil liberty is right to free speech plus expression. All right, expression. And third one is right to protest and dissent. Right to protest plus dissent, right? So when we add number one political rights and number two civil liberty, let's call it short form PR. Let's call it short form. So here is an idea that if you want to understand what is the basis of democratic system of government, the basis of democratic system of government. So what is it? Political rights plus civil liberties. That's one more argument. Now the question is how they both lead to well-being of an individual, right? How do they lead to it? So there are three ways to understand it. Number one, that it leads to government accountability to people. So it establishes accountable government. This is the first argument, accountable government. Now suppose they ask you a question, what about some other argument is present in NCERT that more importance is given to the rights of the individual in comparison to the rulers. So individual rights gain or have primacy over rights or authority of those in power. This is the second idea, that individual rights are more important, more significant in comparison to other. And then the third idea comes that they are ensuring that all persons have equal influence the decision of the government. So is known as participatory governance, which means all have equal space to influence decision making. This is what NCERT is telling us. Isn't it beautiful that the first kind of rights lead to these different kind of thought process? So they might ask you a question, what is the basis of democratic system of government? Answer is political rights and civil liberties. They might ask you a question, how political rights and civil liberties lead to well-being of individual? Three options: by creating accountable government, by giving primacy to individual rights, by ensuring participatory governance. Third is, what are the different type of political rights? Answer is equality before the law, right to political participation. Fourth question, what do we mean by civil liberties? Civil liberties are referring to the rights of fair trial, right to free speech and expression, right to protest and dissent. This is the first idea. The second type of rights are known as the economic rights. All right, this is the second idea, economic rights. Now this is very easy to understand, simple. Political rights can only be exercised, they can only be ensured when we have fulfilled the basic needs. So they are concerned with the fulfillment of basic needs, fulfillment of basic needs of an individual. For example, what are the basic needs? Oh, you need food, पेट भरा हुआ हो, shelter, there must be some place where you can sleep and rest. Clothing, you must be wearing clothes, you should not be naked or stripped of the clothes. Health, you must be healthy, and etc. are met. Then we have found that okay, now we can talk about the political rights. So before exercising political rights, fulfillment of economic rights is equally important. Then majority of people require certain facilities so that their basic needs can be met. Very good example could be, think about this, the housing and the medical facilities provided by the government. In the Indian context, the National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, I think you all of must have heard about Manrega, hai na? So these are what? These are known as examples of economic rights like Manrega. And then in the democratic societies, we need to understand that we must provide these economic rights. Now there is going to be one question asked from here. UPSC might ask you, why do we need fulfillment of economic rights? And the answer is simply very clear. We need to fulfill the economic rights because without the assurance of economic rights, people cannot exercise rights of political participation. People cannot exercise rights of political voting. People cannot exercise the right of engaging in the governance process. So first you need to fulfill these rights, then you can further enjoy the political rights beautifully. That is the argument. However, there is something more to it. When we think about India, so people like to exercise political rights in a far more efficient manner than they have received economic rights. Or in other words, they also think that by exercising political rights, they can actually make a government which will take care of their economic rights. मतलब क्या हुआ? भारत में क्या देखा गया है? ज्यादातर लोग अपना राइट टू वोट इस सब को एक्सरसाइज करना चाहते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि उन्हें लगता है कि वो ऐसी सरकार चुनेंगे जो उनके इकोनॉमिक राइट्स को फुलफिल करे, फूड, शेल्टर, क्लोथिंग, बेसिक नीड्स को. इसमें एक बात और याद रखिएगा, why economic rights are important. Think like this. Suppose someone gets arrested, and this is what the President of India also discussed in a speech. इंडिया के प्रेसिडेंट ने भी अपने एक स्पीच में इसकी बात की है. They have shared it. Now what do they mean by this? The President of India said that there are many people in India who are simply in jail. The trial has not taken place. They don't have that much money that they can actually spend it for their own trial. Question is, अगर ये जरूरतें पूरी नहीं होती तो क्या कोई इंसान कभी जस्टिस पाएगा सोसाइटी में? नहीं पा सकेगा. दैट इज वाई इकोनॉमिक राइट्स को पूरा करना बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट माना जाता है. लेट्स मूव फॉरवर्ड. The third one is the idea of cultural rights. Now this is something which is a recent addition. ठीक है, ये बहुत ही नया है. It is a new addition. It is a recent addition. Now what do we mean by this? Cultural rights क्या होते हैं? Simply, the cultural claims of the citizens must be recognized. यानी जो हमारे cultural claims हैं. Like for example, think about India. A Sikh person wants to wear turban even if he is serving the government of India. A Sikh person wants to carry the kirpan. That's a cultural claim. People want to have Jagannath Yatra. That's a cultural claim. People want to move forward with the Ram Navami processions. That's a cultural claim. People want to go and pay homage to a wonderful Sufi saint on a mazar. That's a cultural claim. So that is an idea that if I belong to a certain culture, my culture must be recognized. Now Western countries are now facing this problem. We are already multicultural, we are already plural. So हमने बहुत पहले ही इसको recognize कर लिया था, लेकिन दुनिया में बाद में आया. The right to have primary education in one's mother tongue. The right to establish institution for teaching one's language and culture. For example, if I give you an example, article number 29 and 30. Also known as the cultural and educational rights. ठीक है, the cultural and educational rights. These rights actually recognize the cultural and educational concern of linguistic and religious minorities. So cultural rights are very much connected with lot of linguistic, cultural and also religious claims. So this is what we have to understand in our mind. Now let's see how NCERT tells us. NCERT says, today, in addition to political and economic rights, more and more democracies are recognizing the cultural claims of the citizens. The right to have a primary education in one's mother tongue, the right to establish institutions for teaching one's language and culture are today recognized as being necessary for leading a good life. The list of rights thus steadily has increased in democracies, while some rights, primarily the right to life, equal treatment and the right to participation, are seen as basic rights that must be received priority. Other conditions which are necessary for leading decent life are being recognized as justified claim or right. So NCERT is telling us that we are seeing a wonderful addition. Let me tell you, what are we seeing? Some rights are now being claimed as basic rights. Okay, basic rights. What are these basic rights? Like right to life, right to liberty, ऑल राइट, राइट टू पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन, क्योंकि एनसीईआरटी क्या करती है, एक एक लाइन से सवाल यूपीएससी पूछ लेता है. राइट टू पॉलिटिकल पार्टिसिपेशन, राइट टू इक्वल ट्रीटमेंट, यानी हमारे साथ भेदभाव ना हो, नो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. ठीक है, इनको हमने क्या कह दिया है, दीज आर बेसिक राइट्स, प्लस देयर आर सर्टेन जस्टिफाइड क्लेम्स. ये क्या है, योर इकोनॉमिक एंड rights. Okay, so this is how we have to create a map of rights in our mind as per the NCERT. Let's move forward. Now, when we refer to old NCERT, the old NCERT is telling us that there are certain rights which are necessary for our age. Now, some of this is connected with political rights. Some of this is also connected with economic rights, definitely, but they are rights which are necessary for the contemporary time period. So we are talking about the 20th century and the current 21st century. So let's look at it. First one, kind of rights, okay? And this is, I have given you a screenshot from the old NCERT. Now, as you can see, coming to the particular rights which are necessary for our own age, the first right a citizen needs is the right to personal liberty as embodied in the notion of rule of law. The first idea. So, the first one is going to be right to personal liberty as embodied in the notion of rule of law. So, let me just write it for you. Personal liberty and plus the idea of rule of law. All of you will be surprised to hear it that UPSC has asked a question from rule of law. UPS also asked a question from personal liberty. दोनों पे सवाल आपसे पूछा है. अभी रखते हैं सेकंड पे आइए. The second important right is the right to equality. Okay, and two major things: equality of opportunity and equality before the law and equal protections of law. So we are talking about equality. और equality में भी क्या क्या है? Number one, equality before the law. This is the first one. Second, we are seeing the equality of opportunity, and then connected with both is equal protection of लॉस, है ना. ये हमारे सामने क्लियर कट पिक्चर आ रखी है. सो लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये क्या है. द फर्स्ट है कम फर्स्ट हियर. सो लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. नंबर वन, राइट टू पर्सनल लिबर्टी. लेट्स लुक एट इट. सी, द राइट टू पर्सनल लिबर्टी इज कनेक्टेड विद द आइडिया ऑफ रूल ऑफ लॉ. सो अकॉर्डिंग टू इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, अगर हमारे संविधान की बात करें, no one should be deprived of his personal liberty except according to the procedure established by law. What is personal liberty? Simply where I am living, I am walking, I am eating, I am moving to some place. मैं अपना आ जा रहा हूं. It's the liberty of my existence कि मैं कैसे काम कर रहा हूं, कहां काम कर रहा हूं, क्या कर रहा हूं, किस लेवल पे कर रहा हूं. इन सब चीजों से जब हम राइट्स को जोड़ते हैं, दैट इज राइट टू पर्सनल लिबर्टी, कि मेरा अपना जीने का अधिकार, मेरा अपना आने जाने का अधिकार. एंड अगर किसी को अरेस्ट करना है, ठीक है, अगर किसी को रोकना है, if somebody wants some person to be contained, then that must be according to the procedure established by law. कानून जो कह रहा है उसके हिसाब से ही आप रोक सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ somebody wants to take me to the police station and arrest me, वो ऐसी मुझे जबरदस्ती नहीं उठा के ले सकते. They need to have a warrant. ठीक है, वारंट के अलावा सपोज आई हैव बीन अरेस्टेड, then they have to inform somebody, two people there, कि we are arresting him and we are taking this person to this police station. Similarly, the right to personal liberty does not mean absolute freedom to do anything. इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि मैं जो चाहूं वो करूं. Not at all. For example, if I have a right to personal liberty, I want to walk, it doesn't mean कि मैं सामने मेरे जो भी चल रहा है उसको गिराता हुआ चलूं. ये नहीं हो सकता. मुझे अच्छे से चलना है, right? It means we should be punished only for a breach of definite law and only in a definite manner after a fair trial. पनिशमेंट ऑटोक्रेटिक नहीं होना चाहिए, पनिशमेंट जबरदस्ती नहीं होना चाहिए। पनिशमेंट तभी मिलना चाहिए जब हमने किसी लॉ को वायलेट किया हो, वायलेशन ऑफ लॉ के लिए कानून मन में नहीं माना हो। सेकंड, इट मस्ट बी बेस्ड ऑन फेयर ट्रायल, आर्बिट्ररी या मनमाने ढंग से हमारे साथ ये नहीं किया जाना चाहिए। सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू कैन थिंक लाइक दिस, कम हेयर, what does it mean? It tells us that the personal liberty is very necessary. Second, a criminal, है ना, a criminal always obsessed by anti-social impulses cannot claim the right to personal liberty. मतलब कि अगर कोई ऐसा इंसान है जिसे सिर्फ और सिर्फ क्राइम करना आता है, वो ये नहीं बोलेगा कि मेरा पर्सनल लिबर्टी है क्राइम करने का। जैसे कोई मान लो चोर हो, है ना, पेशेवर चोर हो जिसे खाली चोरी करना आता हो, सो दैट पर्सन इज नॉट गोइंग टू क्लेम आई वांट टू प्रैक्टिस थेफ्ट बिकॉज आई एम ऑलवेज इनटू दिस आइडिया एंड दिस इज माय पर्सनल लिबर्टी। नो, the personal liberty does not mean freedom to do anything. It means freedom to live as per the law. और यहां लॉ का मीनिंग किससे जुड़ा हुआ है? लॉ का मीनिंग जुड़ा हुआ है रूल ऑफ लॉ से। अभी मैं आप लोगों को ये बताऊंगा कि इसका मीनिंग क्या होता है। रूल ऑफ लॉ से लॉ का मीनिंग जुड़ा है। लॉ का मतलब ये नहीं कि एडोल्फ हिटलर ने जो कानून बनाया उसके हिसाब से चलेगा, ये नहीं है। लॉ का मीनिंग है इट मस्ट बी क्लियरली रिकॉग्नाइज्ड, इट मस्ट बी बेस्ड ऑन इक्वालिटी, इट मस्ट बी बेस्ड ऑन रिस्पेक्ट फॉर लाइफ एंड लिबर्टी। ठीक है, इतना ही नहीं। When we move forward, so let's try to understand it here. It is saying that the first right which is necessary for the contemporary time period is right to personal liberty, and it means what? Number one, freedom. It means freedom. Number two, the freedom is as per the law. Number three, we can be punished only for violation of law. कि आप कोई कानून नहीं मानते तो ही आपको पनिश किया जाएगा। फोर्थ, द पनिशमेंट must be based on fair trial. All right, so essentially these two are also known as procedure established by law. Now here, do we means कि जो हिटलर ने कानून बनाया वो, अब तालिबान जो अफगानिस्तान में कानून बना रहा है उसके हिसाब से तो औरतों को बहुत पनिशमेंट मिलेगा। आर वी रेफरिंग टू दिस काइंड ऑफ लॉ हेयर? जब हम ये लॉ की बात करते हैं तो क्या हम इसकी बात कर रहे हैं? देन व्हाट अबाउट, थिंक अबाउट दिस, व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ लॉ हेयर? आर वी रेफरिंग टू तालिबान? ये तो बड़ा कमाल की प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी। इफ वी आर रेफरिंग टू तालिबान, इज इट ट्रू? क्वेश्चन मार्क। आर वी रेफरिंग टू, लेट्स से, हिटलर? आर वी रेफरिंग टू हिटलर? बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है कि अगर लॉ का मीनिंग है, हिटलर ने भी कानून बनाया था, तालिबान ने भी कानून बनाया है, राइट? आर वी रेफरिंग टू द लॉ विच इज मेड बाय अ डिक्टेटर? इसकी बात हो रही है। इसका तो मतलब ये हो गया कि हम लोग बड़ा फंस जाएंगे। नो, द आंसर इज दैट नो, दिस इज नॉट द आंसर। द आंसर इज रूल ऑफ लॉ। व्हाट इज द आंसर? देयर मस्ट लॉ। और रूल ऑफ लॉ का मीनिंग क्या हुआ? नंबर वन, लॉ इज सुप्रीम। ठीक है, यानी कि सोसाइटी में देयर इज सुप्रीमेसी ऑफ लॉ। मतलब क्या हुआ? दैट वेदर इट इज अ डिक्टेटर, वेदर इट इज समवन कॉल्ड हिटलर, वेदर इट इज एनी सोशल ग्रुप, इट डजंट मैटर, दे आर बीनीथ द लॉ। सबसे ऊपर कौन है? कानून है। सेकंड, देयर इज इक्वालिटी फॉर द लॉ। ऑलराइट, मतलब क्या हुआ? कानून के सामने सब बराबर हैं, विच वी जस्ट डिस्कस्ड इन द पॉलिटिकल राइट्स। एंड थर्ड, अब ये आइडिया मैं आपको दे रहा हूं जो रूल ऑफ लॉ में शामिल है। पहले मैं इसको लिख देता हूं, फिर मैं इसको एक्सप्लेन कर दूंगा। इट मींस प्री डोमिनेंस यानी कि प्राइमेसी, प्रीडोमिनेंस ऑफ लीगल स्पिरिट एज बेसिस ऑफ इंडिविजुअल लिबर्टी। ठीक है, अब इसका मीनिंग क्या होता है, सिंपल समझिए। रिमेंबर कल की क्लास में एक बात बताई थी कि राइट्स आर ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग, द स्टेट ओनली एनफोर्सेस देम। ठीक है, याद आया? अब पक्का याद आ गया होगा। राइट्स आर ओनली एग्जिस्टिंग, राइट्स पहले से ही हैं, स्टेट सिर्फ उन्हें कानून बनाकर लागू करता है। विच मीन्स दैट देयर आर सर्टेन राइट्स विच आर प्राइमरी, देयर आर सर्टेन राइट्स विच आर ऑर्गेनिक, देयर आर सर्टेन राइट्स विच आर नेचुरल, और उसके बेसिस पे जब कानून बनता है तो सरकार सिर्फ उस कानून को लागू करती है। लाइक when you think about article 21 in Indian constitution, there is a right to life। अभी के लिए बस आप इतना जानिए, हमारे संविधान में there is something called right to life। राइट टू लाइफ दिया हुआ है, आर्टिकल 21 में लिखा हुआ है, बट इसका यह मतलब हुआ कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन दे रहा है? नो, द आंसर इज कि ये पहले से ही एग्जिस्ट करता है। राइट टू लाइफ नेचुरल राइट है, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन सिर्फ इस राइट का रिस्पेक्ट कर रहा है, इसलिए उसको लिख रहा है। दैट इज द आइडिया हियर कि ये राइट्स पहले से हैं, स्पिरिट में है, और वहां से क्या निकलती है, हमारी लिबर्टी निकलती है। सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट आइडिया कि आज के टाइम पे अगर हमें जानना हो कि विच इज नेसेसरी, देन वी हैव द आइडिया ऑफ राइट टू पर्सनल लिबर्टी। सेकेंड, हम लोगों ने जाना कि वी ऑल्सो नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड द राइट टू इक्वालिटी। एंड व्हेन इट कम्स टू राइट टू इक्वालिटी, देयर आर टू राइट्स। नंबर वन, देयर इज अ इक्वालिटी ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी, and there is equality before the law, which we just discussed in the previous slide as per the rule of law. So let's understand, it's a very simple one, equality of opportunity. Now see, the first thing that you have to understand is we are not talking about perfect equality। हम कहीं से भी ये बात नहीं कर रहे हैं कि सभी को एक बराबर बना दिया जाए। Perfect equality is not practical, it is impractical, it is also not desirable। ये हमारे हाथ की उंगलियां हैं, एक अंगूठा है, क्या ये एक बराबर हो सकती हैं? अगर ये हो गई तो कुछ हो पाएगा? सिमिलरली थिंक लाइक दिस, क्या हम लोग इक्वालिटी को परफेक्टली बराबर कर सकते हैं? देयर इज ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी सम डिफरेंस, बिकॉज वी ह्यूमंस आर डिफरेंट। देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि कोई ज्यादा लंबा हो, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि कोई बहुत नाटा हो, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि कुछ लोगों को कम समझ में आए, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कुछ लोगों को ज्यादा समझ में आए, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी दैट समवन हैज मच बेटर और हाई आईक्यू लेवल, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी किसी का आईक्यू लेवल बहुत कम हो। आप ये चाह रहे हैं कि इनमें बराबरी हो जाए, आर यू टॉकिंग प्रैक्टिकल थिंग? नो, बिकॉज इफ नेचर वांटेड टू मेक अस सेम, इफ नेचर वांटेड टू मेक अस एग्जैक्टली सेम विद ईच अदर लाइक अ क्लोन कॉपी, तो हमारे बीच में इतनी डाइवर्सिटी क्यों होती? यही बात एनसीईआरटी कह रही है कि व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट इक्वालिटी, वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट परफेक्ट इक्वालिटी। व्हाई? बिकॉज इट इज impractical, it is not desirable. Then what are we talking about? We are talking about equality as a system of proportions। proportions समझते हो ना, थोड़ा परसेंट इतना, थोड़ा परसेंट इतना, थोड़ा परसेंट इतना। इसका मीनिंग क्या है? देखिए बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग। इट मीन्स दैट एवरीवन इन सोसाइटी वुड हैव एट लीस्ट द मिनिमम नेसेसिटीज फॉर एन ऑनरेबल एग्जिस्टेंस बिफोर समवन कैन हैव सुपरफ्लस वेल्थ। मतलब क्या है? देखिए, सबके पास कुछ मिनिमम नेसेसिटीज पूरे होने चाहिए। ठीक है, क्या होने चाहिए? सबके कुछ मिनिमम नेसेसिटीज पूरे होने चाहिए। सिंपल, फूड, शेल्टर, isn't it? Clothes, education, job, social security, right? Progress, opportunity, ये सबको मिलना चाहिए कि नहीं मिलना चाहिए? Suppose someone is a child of a rickshaw puller and someone is a child of a IAS officer. Is it not right to say कि दोनों को कम से कम उनकी फूड की जरूरत, शेल्टर की जरूरत, क्लोथ की जरूरत, एजुकेशन की जरूरत, जॉब, सोशल सिक्योरिटी और प्रोग्रेस की अपॉर्चुनिटी सेम होनी चाहिए, मिलनी चाहिए, सबको मिलना चाहिए ना? ये सब जब आप इक्वलाइज कर देते हैं, उसके बाद अगर कोई बहुत अमीर बन जाए, उसके बाद अगर कोई बहुत स्ट्रांग बन जाए, उसके बाद इफ यू गेट समवन लाइक इलोन मस्क इन इंडिया, or if you get anybody else, then that is fine. This is what equality is saying. So equality as a system of proportions. Now what is the meaning of equality of opportunity here? सबको एक समान मौका मिलना चाहिए, और उस मौके के बाद अगर आप अमीर बन जाते हैं, then that is not the problem. प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि कुछ लोगों को ये मिल ही नहीं रहा है, कुछ लोगों को बहुत ज्यादा मिल रहा है, एंड दे आर एबल टू amass lot of wealth. लाइक अगर आप इंडिया में देखें, सो वी हैव एन रिपोर्ट, और ऑक्सफैम रिपोर्ट हमें बता रही है कि इंडिया में इनइक्वालिटी बढ़ती जा रही है. सिंपल थिंक लाइक दिस, डू विमेन हैव इक्वल शेयर ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी लाइक मेन? एंड द आंसर इज नो. डू ordinary women who are general category women have the same life expectancy rate than in comparison to a Dalit women? Answer is no. Why? Because there are differences and we need to understand it. Second is equality before the law. What is the meaning of equality before the law here? Simple. It means the absence of special privileges and equal subjugation of all classes, whether it is weak or strong, according to the procedure established by law and administered by the ordinary courts of the land. जैसे कि जब आप लोग देखें तो आप लोगों ने शायद इसका एग्जाम्पल समझ पाएंगे आप लोग. हैव यू वॉच्ड दैट मूवी कॉल्ड जॉली एलएलबी? किस किस ने ये मूवी को देखा है ना? हंसना बंद कर दो तुम लोग वहां बैठ के. जॉली एलएलबी में आ रहा है आप लोगों को दैट देयर इज अ टिपिकल कार and road rash case, and there this category of person who are poor, there is a person called Sadakant Mishra etc etc. remember? तो जॉली एलएलबी में क्या दिखाया है कि it is not the point कि लोग सड़क के पेवमेंट पर सो रहे थे. the point is कि कोई भी अगर आके उन्हें मार देता है, कोई भी आके लॉ का वायलेशन करता है, तो उसके ऊपर भी सेम प्रोसिक्यूशन होना चाहिए. द पर्सन मस्ट बी एडमिनिस्टर्ड बाय द सेम लॉ, the same courts. The person must, in whatever way possible, the person must be subjugated to the same legal regime जैसा कि एक poor person को झेलना पड़ता है. It doesn't matter if that person belongs to the higher caste, so-called higher caste, or if the person belongs to the so-called lower caste. It doesn't matter if a person belongs to the rich class or the poor class. सबके ऊपर एक ही तरह का कानून एक ही तरीके से लगना चाहिए. That is the idea of equality before the law. And then equality before the law means equality of treatment in equal circumstances. ये बड़ा interesting है. So we are saying when you have equal circumstances, then there must be equality of treatment. मतलब जब समान स्थान पे आप लोग, यू आर ऑल्सो सिटीजन, आई एम ऑल्सो सिटीजन, वी मस्ट हैव इक्वल ट्रीटमेंट, हमारे साथ एक जैसा व्यवहार होना चाहिए. बट व्हाट इफ सम पीपल आर नॉट इक्वली present in the social sphere? What if someone requires additional support? What if someone requires additional benefits? What if someone requires an aid? What if someone requires a helping hand by the state? जैसे कि what if we talk about the people like who belong to the scheduled caste category, people who belong to the scheduled tribe category, people who belong to the other backward classes category? What about these people? And the answer is that they must be treated differently. So state can make some classifications so that, and that classification must be reasonable and it has to serve the public good. अगर आपको याद आ रहा हो तो मैंने इसी क्लास में एक रेस का एक मॉडल बना के आपको दिया था, right? Apply that same logic here as well. So this is the second idea. Okay, now let me take you to one more thing about some other rights. So for example, let's look at the third right here. When we think about the third right here, the third right is third important right is that which must be guaranteed to citizens is the right to freedom of speech and expression. ये एक होना चाहिए, right to freedom of speech and expression. Apart from this, the fourth important right is right to work and be paid adequate wages. कि आप जब काम कर रहे हैं तो आपका पैसा इतना होना चाहिए कि आप अच्छी जिंदगी जी सकें. The fifth important right could be the right to health care. Very important right. Okay, and not only this, if you think further, then you can have one more right which is known as the right to education. ये भी होना चाहिए. So all those rights like enumeration are the participate in the affairs of the state, right to vote, etc etc. So these are some of the rights which the NCERT has mentioned. So let's try to understand each of these important rights so that we can have a better sense of what rights are necessary for our age. So for example, one example is right to free speech and expression. Let me give you a heads up. Article 19 of the Indian Constitution deals with it. Now what is right to free speech and expression? आप सब लोग इसके बारे में तो जानते ही होंगे. YouTube, आप लोग एक काम कीजिएगा, YouTube पे जाके देखिएगा कौन कौन क्या क्या बोल रहा है नेता लोगों के बारे में. Very interesting comments. Why right to free speech and expression is important? Why is it? Number one, people get opportunity to ventilate their grievances. उनके मन में जो कुछ भी दुख है, उनके मन में जो कुछ भी पीड़ा है, whatever they are feeling bad about the current government, they are able to spit it out. They are able to vent it out. Second, it also organizes public opinion on the issue of public concern. For example, what happened, let's say, on the India-Pakistan border? What happened, let's say, during any kind of tragedy in India? What has happened when tsunami is going to hit? What is going to happen? What is happening if there is an earthquake? What about the issue of, let's say, for example, idea of inflation? What about the issue of good governance? Whatever the issue is there, we must have right to free speech and expression so that we can actually organize our opinion. We can actually give a sense of what are the different opinions that we have in our mind. Not only this, it also helps the rulers or those who are governing. मतलब वो लोग जो सत्ता में हैं, जो लोग पावर में हैं, उनको ये मौका देता है that they are able to understand the mind of the people, that they are able to make sense. Okay, this is what the person is saying. Oh, this is what the people are thinking. Oh, perhaps we are not doing very good on this policy. That is why there are a lot of grievances against this particular policy. So why not let us have a new kind of policy? Let's help public and let's make a very positive wave in the favor of the government. So it helps the government to know the mind of the people. Then we have this person called John Stuart Mill. See how John Stuart Mill, a very famous philosopher, again a liberal philosopher, and also a very good philosopher when it comes to the idea of feminism. नारियों के अधिकार पे उन्होंने काफी लिखा था. जॉन स्टुअर्ट मिल ने एक बात कही है. He said, even the whole mankind has no right to silence a single dissenter. For who knows that he might be in the right and all others in the wrong. कितनी स्ट्रांग बात है कि पूरी दुनिया अगर एक हो जाए तो भी वो एक ऐसे इंसान की बात को उन्हें नहीं दबाना चाहिए जो उनसे अलग बात कर रहा हो, डिसेंट कर रहा हो. ठीक है, डिसेंटर का मतलब हुआ द वन हु इज सेइंग अ डिफरेंट ओपिनियन. क्यों? वी डोंट नो कि क्या पता वही इंसान सही हो और बाकी सब गलत. एंड हिस्ट्री हैज गिवन अस मेनी एग्जांपल्स. थिंक लाइक दिस. देयर वाज अ पर्सन कॉल्ड सॉक्रेट्स. सॉक्रेट्स हमेशा सही सवाल पूछते थे. सॉक्रेट्स से पूछा गया, या पूरा एक लेजेंड है दैट वे बैक इन द एंशिएंट पास्ट द पीपल केम आउट एंड दे आस्क्ड द ओरेकल, जो भविष्य बताते हैं काइंड ऑफ, उनसे पूछा कि बताइए कि पूरे के पूरे इस दुनिया में सबसे ज्यादा समझदार इंसान कौन है? हु इज द मोस्ट इंटेलिजेंट पर्सन इन द वर्ल्ड? एंड द ओरेकल रिप्लाइड, इट्स द सॉक्रेट्स. Now people came to Socrates and they asked him, come on, tell us, what do you know? How come you are the most intelligent person as per the oracle? है ना, ये भविष्यवाणी करने वाले ने बोला है कि तुम सबसे ज्यादा बुद्धिमान हो, भाई तुम क्या ऐसा जानते हो? Tell us. And this reply by Socrates is one of the philosophy of my life. And he said, I only know what I don't know. मुझे केवल इतना पता है कि मुझे क्या क्या नहीं पता है. So this was the idea of Socrates, and Socrates used to ask many difficult questions from the government or to the government, basically to the government, also sometimes from the government side but to the government. और Socrates को क्या सजा मिली? Socrates को सजा मिली थी जहर पीने की, और उन्होंने पिया. उनके स्टूडेंट्स ने उनको भागने का इंतजाम कर दिया था, बट Socrates ने जहर का प्याला, विष का प्याला पिया था. Then we have the example of Christ. What happened with Jesus Christ? He was saying the right thing, but at that point of time all those individuals who belong to the dominant religion or those who belong to the authority like the Roman Empire, उन्हें वो पसंद नहीं थे, तो जीसस क्राइस्ट को सूली पर चढ़ा दिया गया. Similarly we have the example of Galileo. पूरी दुनिया कहती थी कि धरती सेंटर है, the earth is the center of the solar system, right? And the all other planetary bodies, all other celestial bodies are revolving around the earth. Now the question is it true? They are rotating around the, इस चक्कर में घूम रहे हैं. Now the problem is, how come are you sure? Then Galileo ने दिखाया किसी planets ऐसे दिखते हैं, etc etc. But the church was not in favor. And what happened? Galileo को भी असैसिनेट कर दिया गया, मार दिया गया, और गैलीलियो का अंगूठा जरूर रख लिया गया. सो इट टेल्स अस कि अगर कोई एक इंसान भी किसी टाइम पे आपसे एकदम उल्टी बात कर रहा है तो उसकी बातों को भी नहीं दबाना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ आई एम सेइंग दैट अंडरस्टैंडिंग एनसीईआरटी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड दिस इज एनसीईआरटी, sir, you have to believe me, then you cannot subjugate my views. Some argue that even freedom of speech and expression could not be denied during a war. युद्ध में भी इसको नहीं रोकना चाहिए. And it doesn't include, हालांकि याद रखिएगा, we do have right to free speech, but it doesn't include that we are saying some kind of propaganda, झूठ फैला रहे हो. No, that is not free speech. If we are saying कि ऐसा काम करो कि युद्ध ना लड़ो, there is a war going on, and we are saying no, there must not be war, the Indian army should not follow the orders of the government, that is not free speech. Suppose we are saying there must be a civil war, suppose we are saying that there must be some kind of crime, no, that is not at all free speech, that is against the free speech. Then it also means that if this right is abused, then everyone must have a right for a suitable remedy. अगर आपके साथ गलत होता है, अगर गवर्नमेंट आपके राइट को रोक देती है, then आपके पास एक ऑप्शन होना चाहिए so that you can actually move forward and look for a remedy. Then we have right to work and be paid adequate wages. Very simple. अगर आप मेहनत कर रहे हैं तो आपको पैसा मिलना चाहिए, ये सिंपल सी बात है. Everyone must have some gainful work in the society, और इतना आप कमा सकें कि कम से कम आप खुद का और जो आपके ऊपर डिपेंडेंट हैं उनका हेल्प कर सकें, एटलीस्ट आप उन्हें ठीक ठाक पैसा दे सकें. However, it doesn't mean कि सबकी सैलरी बराबर हो. We are not talking about equality of income. No, we are only saying that there must be some kind of idea, some kind of principles that everyone is able to earn some amount of money. That is the only thing which is happening here. Then we have right to healthcare. Again, we are not saying that people or the government can make us free from disease. ये बात नहीं हो रही है. If you are not having a good diet, of course you can fall sick. We are not talking about government making us free from diseases. What we are saying is it ultimately depends upon our own care of health. But if someone wants to remain fit, all right, if someone wants to remain fit, then the government must provide the infrastructure. मतलब hospitals बने, बेहतर doctors हों, must be vaccination. So when you think about the issue of COVID vaccination, ये क्यों किया गया? Because Indian government is recognizing the right to health. Then there are some other affairs, for example, right to education. Education is very important for human development. We have already discussed it. And it also doesn't mean that we are saying equal education for all. Somebody is eligible to become a doctor. Somebody is not eligible to become a doctor. Somebody is eligible to become an engineer, but somebody is not eligible to become an engineer. So we are not talking about equal education for all. ये नहीं है इसका meaning. Because people differ in capacities. What we are saying is that we must at least have educational opportunities. Also, if someone doesn't want to study, अगर कोई पढ़ना ही नहीं चाहता है तो आप उसको मत पढ़ाइए जबरदस्ती. We are also not talking about that. It does not mean teaching reluctant and unfit members of society. What we are saying is everyone must have a certain minimum education which is necessary for the person in a meaningful sense so that he can have a better life in the community. Then you have another example, right to participate in the affairs of the state. Simple, right to vote, right to contest elections, to form associations, etc., etc. These rights are important because without political rights, without participatory rights, without these rights, you cannot have a real political community. यानी वहाँ चुनाव नाम के होंगे जहाँ पे इस तरह का right ना हो. For example, China, even for that matter, Russia. And it is also necessary to make us active citizens. So this is how it is telling us, right? This brings me to the another part. How to prioritize the rights. Now see, whenever you think about prioritizing the rights, always remember that it depends upon the nature of economic capacity, the level of development of the country, etc. So it depends upon that. Suppose some countries are very developed, so they will definitely have more say or more share about, let's say, economic rights. And if the country is not that developed, it will be thinking something else. If the country has developed to such an extent that they have already understood the political rights, so they will go for that. So government's nature, society's nature affects. If the government is dependent upon let's say some kind of corporate, so they will not favor social justice. If the government is in eager of social justice, they will have economic policies. So it differs. How to prioritize rights, it remains a matter of debate. But what you have to understand here is that in the end, it is the government's spirit that matters. If the government wants to ensure all rights, it will ensure all rights. If the government doesn't want to ensure all rights, it will not ensure all rights. So this is where I will be stopping today. This we have covered different kind of rights. Now in the next class, I will start with right to disobey. Then I will move on to idea of rights and duties, and then human rights on Monday. So all the best. Thank you so much. See you all in the next class.